Happy Wednesday to you. This is John McEntyre Money Show. I'm John McEntyre, and hope everyone had a great weekend. I know I did. Some rest, relaxation, a little bit of food, a little of this, a little of that. But yeah, we're getting ready for tomorrow is the big day. AEP, the annual enrollment period for Medicare, and so I just wanted Andrea. She was on with me Friday. Um, And today I just wanted to touch on some important points to make sure everyone's prepared, which is I want, there's always every year some mistakes that people make. And so we want to make sure that those don't happen this time. And I want to make sure and just cover the Medicare enrollment mistakes that usually happens every year. And they're not they're not the best, especially number one, they're not the best mistakes to make. We really want to be careful because you can actually end up being locked in for the year behind some of these mistakes. And so just want to make sure we cover them and get ready because tomorrow, 9 a.m., whatever time, your time, the phones will start ringing. So just be prepared. You're going to receive a lot of calls, and you've been warned. So let's cover these. Let's make sure that you handle it the correct way because if you are waiting for a call, if you do need to talk to someone, that's fine. If not, if you're already dealing with, if you already have an agent that you're working with, then you don't really have anything to worry about. That's the best way. Uh, so AEP can be very busy, and with all of the busyness, it can become very confusing. So that's why we advocate you having uh, an advisor like us, someone that you can already talk to. You already know what you're going to do before the time hits, and you can just go on about your stress free, go on about life stress free. You probably would receive calls anyway, but you already have an agent that's taken care of. Thank you, bye bye, click. So there you go. So let's get into these mistakes. The biggest and the most costly mistake is when I see seniors or beneficiaries dropping their Medicare Part D prescription drug plan and enrolling into a Medicare C or Advantage plan without understanding what they're enrolling into. Um, Usually, what happens, you get a call, for lack of a better term, you get a call from a shady agent or a broker. There's been plenty of times, and CMS, which oversees Medicare, they're cracking down more and more on these brokers. They will call, and they're calling posing as your agent. Sometimes the call is, "Hey, I'm your agent. I'm just calling to make sure everything is okay. I wanted to talk to you about your plan," when they know that they're not your agent. And during this period is so busy, a lot of people they just go with it because they know that this time of the year is important for Medicare, and so they sort of go with it and really don't know what has happened till January the 1st, something like that. And with this, being disenrolled, leaving their Part D plan, going into Advantage plan, um, um, it may not be the best fit for you, may not be beneficial for you to do. Also, oftentimes, it could actually be your insurance company, the company that you have the plan with. If you have just a Part D plan, they can actually contact you because you're already doing business with them. Brokers, that's why brokers that are not agents and brokers that are not really your agent, they will say something like, "Hey, I'm your agent. I was calling because of this," because legally they're not supposed to be contacting you. So remember, we were talking about it Friday on how protected the Medicare beneficiaries are, um, and so they're really not supposed to be contacting you. The companies that you are doing business with, they can actually contact you because they're like agent of record, things like that. Um, and before I go forward, I see Sue Robert. She's tuned in. Hello, Sue. I hope everything's good with you. I'm about to learn some stuff here. Got to teach some people. But I'm just kidding. What was I saying? Oh, they can actually contact you. Your agent of record, they can actually contact you because they're already doing business with you. Uh, you may just be in a prescription drug plan. They make more money from a Medicare Advantage plan than they do just a drug plan, prescription drug plan, Part D plan. So it may be your own company calling, and they're doing the check-in type call, just checking in on you, doing a Part D review, and that's quite common. If you have an agent, um, we look at those plans a lot, with people, especially this year coming up because there's some big changes coming down the line. So, I mean, that's why I'm so adamant about it right now, is because a lot of agents know that this is going to be this is a year of a lot of big changes. And so they're going to, they didn't, some companies, they play off of the fear and things like that. Um, which is not good business practices, but they do it because they know how important it is. And so some of the companies, even though you may be doing business with them, say for instance you have a supplement plan and you just have a prescription drug plan with them, they make more money with you going into an Advantage plan than just being in a Part D drug plan. And so they'll do the review, and then as they're talking, then they'll bring up, maybe you want to look, we want to see if you're eligible for those, for the free dental, the eyewear, the gym memberships, things like that. And then they go forward and then they say, or one of our all-in-one $0 a month Medicare plans. And that's usually the hook. um, and so people sort of, take that and move with it, and then inadvertently think that they're getting all of these separate, benefits with what they already have. They think that it's actually separate when in reality what you're doing, you're going to be disenrolled from your supplement plan because you're going into an Advantage plan. And we'll talk a little bit more about that later, but that's usually what happened. Um, because, well, just put it like this: if you accidentally enrolled into an Advantage plan, you may or may not be able to re-enroll into your supplement plan. So that's why it's so important, depending upon the company. That's as far as I can really go with that. But depending upon the company, because you disenrolled, they may not allow, pending, you qualifying for it again. So that's why that's so important. You don't want to do that. So that's actually, that's as you can tell, that's the biggest mistake, and it happens a lot. It happens a lot. A lot of talk, receiving a lot of calls, get confused, wordplay, things like that. Saying certain words and using zero, premium, free, things like that. Seeing if you're eligible and all of this type of stuff. And next thing you know, you've enrolled in an Advantage plan. They made a good commission because the commission for Advantage, the pay for Advantage, is more than supplement plans and drug plans, Part D plans. And so some companies, they do it. So that's why it's important for you to have someone independent that you could talk to, that's not concerned about that. They're concerned about keeping you as a long-term client, keeping you happy. And so that's why you would want to talk to someone. So that's the big one. And you can see what that could really hurt. That could do a lot of damage, because people have, what I've seen is people actually that have been through that, then they call and they're like, hey, I'm doing all of these copays now, and and they're talking about this, and last year uh my deductible was 245, just say for instance it was 245. Now they're saying, uh, I may end up paying $3,000 to $7,000, in maximum out of pocket. What is this all about? Okay, yes, you've been disenrolled from your supplement plan and you're now in a Medicare Advantage plan. And Medicare, is not that Medicare Advantage plans are bad, they're good in some cases. For some beneficiaries, they're great for some beneficiaries. But in your case, if you were paying and you were enrolled in a supplement, you did take a step back. Sometimes some people, they may not, sometimes the increases happen with the supplement plans, the premiums, and they may not be able to cover the costs, and so going to a Medicare Advantage plan may be beneficial financially for them. So those are the few cases where it could be beneficial. So we see the importance of that. So that was number one. um, number two Number two mistake, and we talked about it, we would talk about it, just not reviewing your annual notice of change document. You know, it outlines all the changes for the upcoming year, as we've discussed, because we started talking about it early because that's how important it is. If you would, you would be able to look at it, review it, maybe talk to your agent, and whatever, make any phone calls you need to make sure that your prescription drugs are handled, make sure your doctors are still in network, hospitals are still in network, things like that, making sure all of that's still in line. If not, then you know what you need to do come annual enrollment period, come the open enrollment period. And so that's what makes that one so, important. And if you check, if, say for instance, you didn't look at your notice of change document, but you did find out it was, everything was pretty much going to stay the same, or you were happy where you are, then you don't have anything to do. uh, First of January 1st, you will still be in the same plan. You would just be re-enrolling, because until you make changes, you would just roll over in the plan. uh, and that's where people confuse those with Medigap or supplement plans. Supplement plans, you don't enroll every year. You have it permanently until you disenroll. You know, and you can do whatever as long as you pass medical underwriting. You can change plans. You can go, for instance, some people are in a G, they may decide to go to an N, or they may find another G plan that's maybe the premiums are a little cheaper. And so but that's pending underwriting, medical underwriting. That's what that's all about. You can make those changes anytime. That's it doesn't Those enrollment periods doesn't apply to Medicare, Medigap, or supplemental plans. So um, now, the third mistake that happens a lot is just missing the enrollment period deadline. Uh, get busy, get thinking about other things, something happened, life happens, or whatever, and maybe there was some changes happening with your plan that you didn't like, and you were intending to look at another plan. If December the 7th comes and goes, you're just in that plan for next year. You can't make any changes. Pretty much all you can do is go back to original Medicare. But that's pretty much it. You can try Medigap, but you have to go through medical underwriting if you if you wanted to go that route. So that's what you would have to look forward to if you miss those deadlines. And that applies also to the prescription drug, just the independent prescription drug plan, the freestanding plan. But also, you make those changes during this time of the year also. So that annual notice of change, when it shows up, or you need to get your hands on it as quickly as possible, you have till December the 7th. Keep it at top of the mind, because when these phones start ringing, you will want to turn your phone off sometimes. Once tomorrow kicks off until December the 7th, even if you're in a plan, it doesn't matter. The phones are going to ring. You're going to get a lot more mail, a lot more emails. You're going to receive texts, all types of stuff. Who knows? All of these new technologies now. You may get DMs, anything. They may hack it. No, I'm not gonna say that. I don't want to play that role. I'm just playing. But those are the big three. Just make sure, um, if you're happy with everything, you're good. Stay good. If you're in a supplemental plan, you're just looking at your prescription drug plan. That's all that you're making changes with. So if someone does contact you, you're happy with your supplement plan, say, hey, I just want to look at my drug plan. I will take a look at that. That's it. I'm not leaving my supplement plan. I'm good there. So let's just look at that. Uh, Make sure you check out your annual notice of change document and mark your calendar. Big red circle around uh, tomorrow's date, which is the 15th, October 15th, December 7th, end. That's the last day. Midnight, December the 7th. That's it. As far as it goes. So, with that being said, just wanted to do some quick points. I didn't want to make a long one. Just wanted to do this one before because we're annual enrollment period eve. Tomorrow is the big day, and so I just wanted to do this one last. This is not the last show for Medicare's the one where we're talking about AP because now I know there's going to be questions that as people are moving through AEP, those types of questions are going to come. So the prep questions are now. Then it's going to get into the the more different types of questions. So I just want to handle that. So that being said, I wanted to get into the question of the day, which is basically, are you planning to make any changes this open enrollment period? That's the question. Are you planning to make any changes this enrollment period? That way you're prepared and you already know what you're going to do, what you're going to say. That's the best way, just prepare up front. Just be prepared for it. That way you won't have to deal with circle talk. You won't have to deal with a bunch of over promising and overselling, things like that. And if you have any questions, you want to talk to someone, our information is on the screen. We can talk to you about it and see what we can do for you. Um, and it is free. It is free. So give us a call if you want to. If you have any questions, contact us. That being said, share this, like it, subscribe. Until tomorrow, I know you're going to have a busy day tomorrow, but we'll see you same time tomorrow evening, same channels. Have a good evening.